Hello and welcome back to the Story Hero podcast. This week I'm joined by Liam Fuller, a 17-year-old based here in Dublin who has just founded his second Shopify app, CardShare. Liam, welcome to the show.
Yeah, delighted to be on it.
Great to have you on board, Liam. Let's dig into you a little bit. Who are you? Where are you from? What are you working on?
I'm Liam. I just turned 17. I'm based in Dublin. And yeah, I'm working on quite a few things. I guess tell you a little bit about myself, my background, that kind of thing. So yeah, like from a young age, I've always been interested in business. I remember when I was 8, I would trade Pokemon cards with kids down the road. And then I realized that if I traded my Pokemon card for his Pokemon card and then looked it up on eBay, that I could kind of profit out of that. And that was kind of like my first little glimpse into entrepreneurship. And then I just kind of got hooked on it from there. And ever since I was 8, I was either building, setting up a drop shipping store, whether it be something like that. And then in more recent times, it kind of got into like pretty intense.
So you were selling Pokemon cards on eBay at what age?
Eight on my mum's account. So like I couldn't even set up an account at that stage. So I got my mum to set up an account on eBay, then post the cards up, and that was great because it was super easy to just you could ship them. It cost me nothing. It cost you nothing sending it in the post. And yeah, like I did pretty well for that actually. And then it was also fidget spinners. Like very shortly after that, when I was 9 or 10, fidget spinners were an amazing like crazy thing. So I was like straight there on like AliExpress or yeah, Alibaba, trying to figure out if I could import fidget spinners to sell to my classmates because they're going for crazy amounts of money, like 10, 20 euro for a fidget spinner, and it cost 1, 2 euros on AliExpress. So I was like, this be cool. So those kind of like little things, yeah.
They're always a great sign. Okay, and did you say you had a drop shipping store as well, or was that the fidget spinners? Or
Yeah, so yeah, I've had a lot of things. Yeah, I had a drop shipping store that basically it was basically kind of like, I TikTok just came out. I kind of was looking that, drop shipping was a massive craze. I saw people were basically actually I saw a TikTok that was it was basically somebody kind of debunking that this product was worth only $3 or $4 and they're selling it for 70 or 80, and I was like, that's a pretty cool margin. I should try do that. And
talking
they're
my
selling
language?
drones. So yeah, I went onto AliExpress, set up a Shopify store. I think they released some sort I downloaded some sort of plugin that allowed me to connect straight into AliExpress and basically get food
Teasers are one
delivered.
of those.
Yeah, something along the lines of that. And it was just super easy for me to set it up. So yeah, it was like it sold kind of these mini drone things. I made some content on it. I convinced some agent on Alibaba to send me a free sample. Did some recording out with my friends, and yeah, nothing happened. So that was kind of like my first little glimpse into e-commerce, and after that, I really didn't come back to it for a very long time. So that was probably when I was 11 or 12 when I did that store, and I didn't really come back to it for a long time after that.
There isn't many people listening to this that set up their first Shopify store at 11 or 12, so I'm sure this is a bit of an education for everybody, including myself. I love it though. I love it. Okay. I mean, you've kind of you've touched on there. You went into e-commerce and you kind of stepped away from it a while. I was just having a browse of your LinkedIn before, and you were involved in the BT Young Scientist at one stage as well. Do you want to talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. So like around 11 or 12, I was going to, I had just moved from my old house to my new house on the south side of Dublin, and I was in a new school, so I was probably in like sixth class, and I was basically getting ready to go into first year, my first year of secondary school, big kind of thing, and yeah, like I was working on some projects when I was in basically when I was in first year, I sold these wallets called I called them Slicks wallets, and they're basically like these duct tape wallets, and I remember I would go down to Woody's with by myself, pick out some duct tape. I saw a guy on YouTube doing it and kind of create those. I kind of started selling those in first year and that kind of thing. I started selling those in first year. I did pretty well. We made 500 euro off of it, and then I used that kind of 500 euro to look at building something with for Beat Young Scientist. So I probably fast forward a little bit forward. It was probably second year, and my friend told me about Beat Young Scientist, and Beat Young Scientist is basically just a national science competition. I think they have 3,000 applicants every year, something like that, and 500 get accepted. And it's basically just kids who want to do something sciencey, work on a project. I wasn't necessarily sciencey. I just wanted to work on something cool. So I had a little bit of money. So I decided what it'd be really, really cool if I built this robotic arm for a science project. This and it make it completely out of 3D printed parts. So it's kind of like it ties into this six walls thing. It's kind of like, you got duct tape, you could build a wall kind of thing, and then I started to realize that 3D printers were becoming pretty popular and open source 3D printers. So I started thinking, wouldn't it be really cool if I made like this robot arm made out of mostly 3D printed parts? And I was like, yeah, I submitted something for the Beach Young Scientist. My friend bullied me into doing it. Um, got accepted, and then I'd have to actually build the arm. And that was a massive mistake. It was extremely difficult, and I did not have the skills required to do it. But in the end, with my dad's help, some people I contacted, I think in UCD, I kind of got something there for Beat Young Scientist. And the thing I got out of that really was just kind of building something on a really tight deadline, getting there. Didn't win any prizes, nothing like that in my first year doing Beat Young Scientist. Judges kind of came over and that kind of thing because it was very last minute. And I kind of learned a lot from that. It was a science competition. It wasn't a business competition. It wasn't a something cool competition. Well, it was a something cool competition, but it wasn't. Um, my thing was just really rushed. That was my first year doing it. Then after that, I kind of got a little bit, science isn't for me. I don't like doing that kind of thing. And the next year, well, basically, shortly after I did Beat Young Scientist in second year, I think it was now it's third year, ChatGPT released, or the early versions of ChatGPT released. Probably in third year. And I was like, this is mental. And I doubted immediately once I saw the first use cases of ChatGPT being used on Twitter.
So
I was
you're
like,
about 14, 15 here.
yeah, 14, 15 here. Just kind of got. I'm in third year now, and I'm kind of thinking of new ideas for the second year Beat Young Scientist I'm going to enter. And yeah, no, ChatGPT had just released. I think it was GPT 3.5. I was like, this was absolutely mental. And I basically started seeing the use cases on Twitter of people using ChatGPT. Basically, that AI could talk to you, and I thought that was really cool. Um, and yeah, so I was kind of there thinking of an application for it, and then I kind of came to the conclusion, wouldn't it be really cool? Wouldn't it be really cool if I made a better version of Alexa? So like Alexa's the Amazon voice assistant. I really, really hated it. I really hated it because it could do basically nothing. Like you'd ask it a question and it would come back with a really kind of programmed in response. And I was like, wouldn't it be really cool if I was able to take ChatGPT, figure out a way to get it to speak, have an audio output, and then make that as a project. And more importantly, the one thing that I wanted it to do was remember past conversations. Because if I ever talk to Alexa, Alexa just literally responds to that response and nothing else, and doesn't use any of the context. I talk about, like if I'm talking to you, you'll remember that and use it to hopefully improve our conversation in the future. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I made some sort of model that would be able to do that alongside ChatGPT? This was a less ambitious project. It was ambitious, but it wasn't a hardware project. It was a software project. I didn't know how to code, so I started figuring out how I could code with the help of
I mean,
ChatGPT.
taking on Amazon Alexa and not calling it an ambitious project is debatable. But
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you
I
didn't know
mean,
how to code.
yeah. I didn't know how to code, so that's why I convinced my mate to join in on me, doing this project. Because I was like, I can't code. Can you please help me here? He wanted to do a project as well, so I was like, why don't we team up? Kind of pitched him the idea, and he was like, all right, cool, fine, I'll join it. And yeah, it was like next 6, 7, 8 weeks. February is when Beat Young Scientist starts every year. Started coding this thing, you know, procrastinated a while, down to the last 2 weeks. I built most of the model infrastructure, so the kind of the ability to um, take conversations, store those conversations, and kind of analyze them in real time versus when you ask it a new question, basically compare it to past conversations.
Just to
I
stop you there, so in that, I suppose, process of setting up that infrastructure, did you have to go and teach yourself how to code, and how did you go about that?
Oh yeah, no, I had to learn completely from scratch, right? So I learned about vector embeddings. I learned about how models work, how ChatGPT works, which is on the transformer architecture. I basically learned all of that.
Where did you learn
And
it?
yeah, so YouTube mainly. YouTube was great. Everyone was talking about, and Twitter also as well. Basically, you could go onto Twitter and you could find people who are working on projects that may have been similar, and they all have it publicly posted on either on their Twitter or their GitHub. Just go into that, find their public projects, look at them, understand them, and then mostly YouTube videos. And also my mate kind of helped out a little bit too.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. What happened
So yeah,
next?
like yeah, so should what you know, we got it done last minute. It was very rushed last minute. We had no hope that we are going to win anything, did that kind of thing. But while this was all happening, I met a mentor who was really useful in terms of I had all sorts of crazy business ideas, and I ran into him at an event in Dublin, and we kind of just hit it off. And he while I was working on this BT Young Science project, he was also being super helpful about teaching me how to pitch, teaching me what a startup is, how to make a startup successful while I was working on this project. So I kind of used it. Kind of we got to a day or two before BT Young Scientists. It's a big day, packing everything up. We have our poster ready, we have our code ready, we're ready to go. And then on the way on the car, I'm writing up my pitch of how I'm going to basically sell this to the judges. And maybe that's not the typical approach, right? You don't sell to the judges, but in the end, it actually worked really well because most people who are science, a lot of the one of the big problems when you're trying to pitch a science project, you go straight into the technical details. So I kind of just went base level. What's the problem with existing voice assistants? ChatGPT released. So let's make voice assistants better, but they can also remember past conversations now because of our tech. I basically did that pitch, and I think I did it pretty well. And then yeah, like from that, it's judged. We had a few rounds of judging. We got 12, 13 judges surrounding our booth. It was great. And then yeah, when on the award ceremony, we got a fully paid trip to America to compete in the World International Science and Engineering Fair, representing Ireland. And that was a big shock. I definitely didn't think that was going to happen. And we also won our category, so tech category in BT Young Scientists, we won. So yeah, that was great.
How happy were you with you mentioned it was a rough and ready project and you were getting in there, but getting it to a stage where you won, your category and won the trip to the States, it mustn't have been that rough or, it must be pretty ready. How happy were you with the outcome? Like it's a pretty ambitious topic to take on, even ChatGPT, the previous context, it doesn't remember that much previous context unless you keep it in the same thread. And even at that, it's not perfect.
Yeah, I mean, it worked. Like the one thing that was super useful for us, which I learned to be really important, was having a live demo. It wasn't just a research project, it was a live demo that judges and people could interact with. So you could basically say, hi. I basically did the demo, so we had it trained or it learned a little bit about. I had 1,000 conversations with it before, or around 1,000. And it basically, when I did the demo, I would say the name of the assistant, we called it Sienna for whatever, I don't know what we called it that. And I said, hey Sienna, what books do I like to read? And what it would do is it would respond with a voice like you could listen to, but it would say, "Oh yeah, you haven't really told me about the books that you like, but here's the movies you like, and here's how you should look at. So here's the library that's near you, which is in Dundrum where I live, where you can go pick up books that might be relevant to the movies that you've watched in the past that you've talked to me about." And that was kind of the demo it was, and people were
Wow.
super impressed. ChatGPT at the current stage didn't have that functionality. It didn't even have voice functionality yet. I don't even think voice functionality came out a little bit after we did that project, or it got really good after that project. But yeah, it was impressive. LLMs were a big thing. It was kind of topical, and yeah, I think yeah, yeah, it was it worked. Demo helped us. I think that's probably the demo and pitch is kind of what came together to make that outcome happen.
Nice. Very impressive. Honestly, very impressive stuff. We crossed paths, I think, for the first time. I think it was demo day, probably in March or April. You were working on your first Shopify app. Do you want to talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so yeah, Jesus, that wasn't that long ago actually. This is kind of shortly after the BT Young Scientist project. I was thinking about other applications I could use LLMs or conversational AI in the context of e-commerce. But
Sure.
the problem kind of came from when I was shopping. So I don't do most of my shopping online. I actually do it in real stores. And one use case that I kind of identified for using conversational AI or ChatGPT is in the context of being a conversational voice assistant that could basically try sell things to you. So when I go into Nike in Dundrum or wherever it may be the actual store, a lovely assistant will come up to you and say, "Hey, what are you looking for? Like, what use case you look? What's your price range?" And it's very conversational. Like the store does a lot of the work to help you
Mm.
browse, right? Not the Nike store is pretty big. I go up to the shoe section, and then they come over and they really take all that pressure off me. But then when I went onto the Nike.com website, the issue I had was that basically it was my responsibility to get through those thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of different products and variants. And I thought you could just speed this up super quickly if you had like a little chatbot in the corner that says, hey, how are you doing today? What are you looking for? Give you a few questions and then shows you some examples. And this idea, it was in the back of my mind. I'd done some development work on it. Also, at the same time, I was doing that BT Young Scientist project, just a little bit. And I was that was kind of in the background there. But yeah, I was like, it would be really cool to build this and maybe sell it to e-commerce stores. At that stage, I didn't really know what I was doing in terms. I didn't really know store owners' problems. I didn't really have a good understanding of merchants, which I obviously do much better at now. Um, and it was kind of just me like throwing it out there. This would be cool. See if we can sell it. See if we can get some hype around it. Let's see what happens. And yeah, I started building it. I started building it myself. And then I kind of needed some other kind of proper coder to kind of help me out. So I met this guy called Johan. He's based in France. And I basically found him on Fiverr. And he was doing like a little bit of work for me. I got a little bit of backing from my dad to kind of help me out with this project on the side, and see where it went. And we found him on Fiverr actually. And then over the next few months, we did a little bit of work with him. We kind of got the product kind of working. And then he sent us a message and was like, I really, really like this idea. I will work with you for free if we can have a conversation about
Wow.
joining the company. And I was like, this is really weird. People on Fiverr would never say this.
No,
So
ever.
no, yeah, definitely not. So we got him on a call and we are like, okay, are you serious? Are you sure you want to do this? This is not exactly what the typical conversations go on Fiverr.
Is
Because
Johan your own age or is he younger, older?
oh no, sorry,
Told.
yeah, Johan's 26.
Okay, okay, cool.
So he's yeah, like just about 10 years older than me, but still relatively young. So I got along with him really well. But yeah, what ended up happening is that we were kind of like, okay, are you serious? You're not. And he flew out to Dublin. We met him. We met up with my mentor. My dad was there also. And we kind of arranged for him to kind of join QuickFind. And at that stage, my mentor really helped me understand what are the requirements from a co-founder to kind of make a startup work. And that was kind of what most of the conversation was about. Um, and yeah, he flew out. We agreed on something. He went back to France, and then since then I was kind of he joined up, and then from that shortly after, it was it kind of got clear that I needed to really start networking within the niche of e-commerce in Dublin, because at that stage I really didn't have a clue, and then it was kind of got to a breaking point that I had this cool tool. Now I need to see if e-commerce stores are going to put it on their websites. Turns out it's a pretty new idea, and the value isn't exactly clear. But it's a much bigger proposition to go to a merchant and go, hey, can you put this new chatbot on your store that may or may not hallucinate and say random stuff at the wrong time to help to make your lives of customers easier. And we're not sure if it will improve your conversion rate or not. Not yet. And that's a hard sell.
That's a
Um,
tough sell.
it is, yeah, for sure. And then I met some. I went to Ecom Live. I actually met a lady called Sharon from PT Lean, clothing brand here in Dublin. And at a student enterprise competition, which is a whole other story, it was another project I did. And I met her there. She was a speaker, so I went up to her afterwards and said, "Hey, I'm Liam." Yada yada. She like really really liked what I was doing. She was kind of wanting to understand my story, similar to this conversation. And then yeah, I showed her QuickFind, the chatbot working, and she was like, "This is amazing." And then she was like, "Okay, you should go to Ecom Live." I managed to get myself a ticket, went up to Ecom Live in Belfast, networked with a bunch of people, which inadvertently led to me meeting you. And yeah, it was great. I
Even
kind
that
of
in
I put
itself, though, is a great, like, not many people would have the ability to go and do that. It's easy to go and buy the ticket, but rocking into a networking conference full of people much older than you and trying to pitch your idea takes a lot to be able to do that. And I'm not just saying that, we see it all the time in the story hero context as well. So it is something I'm familiar with, but I mean, fair play. How did you get on at Ecom Live? Obviously, it's a huge events, hundreds of people there. Everybody and anybody in the e-commerce industry in Ireland is there. So quite a captive audience for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it was pretty daunting actually because I didn't realize how many
Of
people would
course.
be there.
Mm.
Um, I kind of went there. Was pretty nervous. I mean, I've been to networking events before. I kind of learned how to network, but not nowhere near this scale. And the proposition I kind of had was, it was still in the works. And basically, I was the purpose of me going there was to find somebody who'd be willing to put it on their store, or at least be just and also get feedback. So there, what I started off with actually when I arrived in the Ecom Live is not talk to just random people, because a lot of them already knew each other, and it's a little bit hard to introduce myself that way. So I went over to all the stands where the agencies were. Well, I didn't know they were agencies until I talked to them. I thought they were just tech providers. Talked to agencies, met some really, really lovely, lovely people, and then just kind of showed them their idea. I got a few calls out of that, which were great. And they're just kind of giving me some feedback. They're like, conversion rates are super competitive. The user, you can't expect a lot from shoppers in terms of learning a new thing when they're on a store. It needs to be super, super simple. And that kind of readjusted how I changed product and added some new features in after that. And then from there, they kind of really helped me. I met a man called Sean Owens, who is head of e-commerce at Granite, which is a pretty big agency in Ireland, and he kind
Really
of
big, yeah.
helped me just introduce me to a few people. I recognize a few. I'd reach out to some people on LinkedIn, so I went up to them after that, and then from there it just kind of spiraled into introductions. Originally, Sharon was supposed to go at Ecom Live as well, but yeah, she was actually sick, so she couldn't make it. So I was kind of there like, what do I do now? Yeah, went to saw some speaker events. One of the things I did, I know Amy Conley was there was a fireside with her after she spoke. I went straight up to her, I told her about my idea. She took my email down, that kind of thing. And I found that was pretty good. It was a pretty good way of talking to people, just going up to
Probably the
them.
biggest name speaking at the whole event.
Yeah, yeah. I probably didn't even realize that. Like, I probably didn't even like I didn't really know how big of a deal that is to talk to somebody like Amy, which now I know has opening stores literally every week, and it also has that massive, massive e-commerce site that's doing really, really well for herself. So yeah, I didn't even know
100%.
to that stage, but yeah. I also met Kevin, who works with Amy, head of e-commerce. He gave me some pretty like tough feedback, which is good. He was very, very clear. He was like, "This is like, yeah, I don't know if you should do this." And I was like, "All right." It was a little bit heartbreaking, but then later on, it was like he was 100% right. Selling quick find is going to be a lot harder than I thought, and getting people even to use it would be a lot harder than I thought. So after that whole event, I didn't actually get a single person who was willing to use or sign up to quick find, which is a little bit disappointing. Went back to Dublin, but then I just started using the network I got from Ecom Live to just hop on calls, talk to lots of people, and kind of get as much feedback as possible. And that's kind of completely changed my approach to QuickFind. For example, now I'm going to be changing that into something that's front user facing, so B2C. So instead of selling this to e-commerce stores, I want to use it as a channel to bring customers to these stores within certain niche markets. For
How does
example, in
that
the next,
work?
so how that works is that you take the base core, the chatbot, right? Um, So typically we'd be selling that B2B, selling it to the store. Instead, we're going to focus just on that chatbot experience, which we know when we actually gave it to people, we had a live demo. So people really liked it. People liked it.
But who's your is your customer still the e-commerce owner in that instance, or is it?
Sorry. No, no, the customer is just basically anyone. It's no longer selling B2B to merchants, but to consumers, the everyday person who likes to shop online,
So
and
there's an
that's
app on
kind of
your phone that's a chatbot to figure out what you want, your personal shopping assistant to a certain extent.
exactly. And the idea is that you match that up with with all these great brands and Shopify stores that already exists within that market. For example, basically the next steps for Quick Find is to launch this as an app on your phone, give it to people in Ireland, and basically make it a super personalized experience to find the best brands in Ireland based on your interests. So if you're talking a Quick Find, you're like, I really like Quick Find. We'll start to find brands and products that can ship to your location or within certain maybe they're products that have free ship. The store that has free shipping, maybe this is a discounted product, and basically curate that for you on your phone straight away, making shopping super easy and hopefully fun. And that's kind of the direction I'm going with that. And the idea is that we with from that we're going to take customers and basically funnel them into the stores who are in the Shopify ecosystem, and basically acquire new customers for stores rather than trying
So,
to.
let's say I have a Shopify store selling AirPods. Do I need
Yeah.
to opt in to this service, or is it something that you basically have a directory of all of the Shopify stores in a specific location and you just start sending me customers? Or how does that opt-in work, or is there an opt-in?
Yeah, so we just short answer is we send you customers and you don't have to opt in yet. So
Great, great,
we
great deal.
yeah, it is a pretty good deal. We do all the idea is we do a lot of the heavy lifting. Basically all the heavy lifting, right? We firstly the idea is we acquire the customer, we then convert the customer, and then send them straight to your checkout. So if you're in the Shopify ecosystem, and then you've basically acquired a new customer free of charge on us. And then after maybe five new customers that have come from us, we send you an email or give you a phone call and say, hey, here we provide you some new customers. If you want these customers to keep coming through Quick Finds, we now give you the option to opt in, and here's also how you can market to these new customers as well. So we're basically giving you that. Once we've provided value, we give you that opt-in button, which helps us as well. We have more access to the store. We can, and it means that we can properly attribute these new sales and charge a commission based on that to the merchant.
So essentially, in theory, looking at a longer time horizon, diverting ad spend away from Meta and Google towards a platform like yourself.
Yeah, and I think there's a bit on Google's especially. There's a massive downtrend in terms of what Google's doing. They had the Google Shopping
Definitely.
platform, which basically just turned into a platform that's completely full of ads.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of gone completely the opposite direction, right? The idea is that you make a great user experience for somebody to basically make it as easy as possible or as engaging as possible to find a new product. And Google didn't do that. Maybe it wasn't engaging, but it certainly had to be good and easy. But what Google, I think, has turned into, which I think merchants would agree on, is expensive and also not fitting exactly what the consumer wants. Even though they have a great algorithm, they have a great search algorithm. They should know all about you. They're not showing you the best product at the best time or the best brand at the best time as well. And also, many of these on Shopify have great products that can't reach the audience they want because Google Ads is so expensive. And then they have
Yeah.
to go on TikTok or Meta's a bit better, but they go on TikTok, they have to market, they have to make content, and they try to reach people that way. But there's a massive trend in young people, especially, using LLMs or chatbots to interact with the internet, right? Like most of my friends and family, not family, friends, would mainly use ChatGPT to search for anything, right? Like I don't,
Really.
my small friend group doesn't really use Google anymore.
That is a
Um,
huge statement. That is a huge statement. Like it's Search 2.0 essentially is what you're saying.
yeah, like exactly. And Google is trying to build their own. LLM and kind of get around the search functionality. But the big advantage I have, I think, is that Google launched Google Shopping, which is they launched Google Shopping with a pure focus of just getting as many ads in there as possible. Maximize this, just give everyone ads, might not be relevant to them, etc. And that's going to be make it really, really difficult for them when they're trying to integrate Gemini, their own ChatGPT equivalent, into their search function because it's just so full of ads. Because LLM isn't
Don't,
going to lie to you, is it? It's going to, ChatGPT, I mean, it can hallucinate, but it will try its best to actually find the best product for you, or at least trying to find you the best information for you. But Google has basically just dug themselves a hole that I think we'll start to see market share in the search market get kind of eaten away at Google over the next few years because they didn't account for this. I don't think they accounted for
I
it.
also think it's such a huge organization that has such a obviously you've Google Cloud and everything else, but the ad platform itself is it's the moneymaker really, and it'd be a very not risky. I mean, I think they need to do it at the behest of user experience, but it's a risky decision for them to upset the apple cart as to what's working in favor of a more nimble approach that maybe, as you to your point, might provide a more curated list of products directly to the end user. So I think it's such an interesting point, and I think it's one where startups are really going to have a huge advantage there in the ability to offer more flexible interfaces.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's something I'm pretty excited about and have been for a while. Now I need to figure out how I'm going to get people to adopt it. What's the best interface? There's a lot like one of the things we're exploring is basically the idea that it's a better version of Google Lens almost. Google Lens is obviously helps you if you want to find a product, and not a lot of people use it. But one of the interesting things for me is that if I see a product if I saw a product on Amazon or I see a product on my friend's phone, or yeah, most of my friends they'll take screenshots of what they've seen on Instagram or Facebook, and they'll have just like lists and an album full of all these just like these clothing items that they've looked at, but then nothing really happens with them, right? Because if you want to funnel that onto Google Lens to find the exact match, that exact match isn't necessarily a store, and that store isn't necessarily actually going to sell to your region or location at all. So the idea is that you'd be able to take these images and find similar products that look visually similar, or maybe even exact matches that are being sold on small brands within the Shopify ecosystem, or even larger brands, and basically give you a really easy way to discover new brands that way, based on kind of the vibe of clothing that you've looked at in the past or you like, which I think could be really really interesting, especially for a younger audience as well.
Fantastic. Liam, let's leave that one there.
Sure.
I've actually lost count at how many businesses or ideas that you've been working on now, but I think we're moving on to maybe eight, nine, or 10 at this stage. We're going
Yeah,
to move
sorry
on
about
to
sorry.
your latest venture, which is CardShare. What is CardShare? How did it start? Talk to me a little
Okay.
bit about CardShare.
Yeah, okay, this is the most exciting one by far. Okay, yeah. Uh yeah. So a little bit of context. After the Ecom Live event, got into the summer. And there's a program that's been running for the last 6 years called Patch. It's based in Dogpatch Labs in Dublin, and it's a pretty hard program to get into, and it's focused on young entrepreneurs who want to build things and want to work together with the other young entrepreneurs. This year, I think there's maybe 900 applicants. 36 get accepted every year. Yeah, I know I knew about this program for quite a long time. Some of my friends had talked about it in the past. I tried to apply to it when I was like 14 when crypto was big. I had a crypto token that I tried to pitch to get into Patch. But it's a pretty hard thing to get into. Um and I the year before I put it off, but this year I was like, okay, I'm going to apply to Patch. A lot of people convinced me to do it. I wasn't sure for a while, and I was like, okay, I'll put in an application. Got an interview. The interview went pretty well, and then I got accepted. So okay, it's in the summer. The idea is that we all kind of arrive. We start brainstorming ideas with each other, understand who we are, the skill sets of each other. I came in kind of from a business mindset. There wasn't many other people there who had that same kind of mindset, maybe three or four at max. The rest were builders, tinkerers, coders, who are much more advanced at that in that domain than I was. Yeah, I knew I wanted to do something in e-commerce because I was already working on this startup Quick
Sure.
Find, which I'm really excited about. I want to kind of stay within that domain, right? I networked a lot, met people like you, met other startups, met agencies, and kind of wanted to use my learnings and the problems I'd identified to build something of some sort during this 6 week program during the summer. So yeah, I arrived. I convinced these two guys who one of them was UI and UX, and one of them was backend. They're both computer science students in TUD. Where Matisse does the UI, Keith does the back end, and they're really lovely. And I basically pitched them on the problems in e-commerce for about 30 minutes, just pitching them, convinced them that there was problems. We had to do something in e-commerce. We had to, we had to, we had to. I know a lot about it, and I basically after 30 minutes they're kind of hesitant, weren't sure. I gave them a few days, and they're like, okay, fine, we'll do something with you. Yeah, so then after that, straight to
Are
the
these guys your own age, 16, 17?
oh, they're a bit older than me. So I think they're both 20. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, it's an interesting choice of why they joined the just turned 17-year-old doing an idea with them. Because yeah, it was at varying ages. Anyone anywhere between 16 and 22 is kind of the age bracket for Patch. So I was definitely just on the lower end. I just turned 17. Most people were 18, 19, 20, 21, that kind of thing. So yeah, I convinced them to work on it with me. So we went straight to the drawing board. I wrote two big problems, converting customers and acquiring customers. And then from there, we just went into all sorts of crazy ideas or weird ideas in e-commerce. One of them was to TikTokify shops, basically take a Shopify store, turn it into it being TikTokable. It's already being done, and I also do think that's a pretty interesting idea, but it wasn't something we think we could achieve in 6 weeks. And then basically we kind of got annoyed at each other, and then we left it for a few days. And we're just about to go into this watch this watch marketplace where people could come in and repair their watches project because like we couldn't find a problem that actually existed in e-commerce until we went back to our accommodation, got to the drawing board, and basically looked at what would be like the coolest store for a young adult, people our age. What would be the coolest features we would want to see? So we're writing them down, and then Keith writes on the board, sharing a cart. And I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, I'm not really sure. But he was like, oh, but he kind of explained to me that he had a problem when he was shopping online, and it was that if he's shopping on one of the brands he really likes, I think it's Gym Plus Coffee, and the free shipping limit is €100. Most of the items, say a tracksuit or maybe a short and a t-shirt, don't actually come up to that €100, but he really wants to get to that free shipping threshold. And as a young adult, he's definitely not he doesn't have a lot of a significant amount of money to spend. So what he
Yes.
does is that he goes to his brother, he goes to the friend group chat and says, "Hey lads, does anybody want to send on what they want, and I'll add it to my cart for you, and we'll pay each other back by Revolut or something like that." And it's great in theory, right? I think it's great in theory, but what it kind of turns into is, wait, what size do you want? Wait, what color do you want? Actually, can I change that? Wait, never mind, I don't want that. And this back and forth becomes really annoying and just an
Yeah.
absolute nightmare. So we're like, what if we could build a plugin that we sell to merchants that makes it super easy for shoppers to share their cart in real time with friends and family in just like a few simple clicks? And then we just got straight into building it. And I identified that the way this could be beneficial for merchants is increasing average order value,
Sure.
reducing customer acquisition costs of new and existing customers because now they can be returning with their friends, cutting cart abandonment rates, which was the big thing. 48% of shoppers online abandon their carts to shipping costs being too high. That's 66% in Canada as well. It's just a fun fact for you. But yeah, that's CartShare, and then maybe I can talk a little bit about where it kind of all went from there. Basically, built it. It started basically 7 weeks ago.
Started 7 weeks ago. Okay. So I'm just going to bring up a little post. I'm not sure if it was a launch post, but yeah, so Summer as a 17-year-old is supposed to be about chasing girls and parties, right? Wrong. And you go on to talk about, I suppose, the efforts that you've gone to launch CardShare around the discovery emails, networking events, and so on and so forth. Um, the post got an awful lot of traction. I'm going to call out one very specific commenter on the post, if I can find him here. Um, this guy. Who's this guy?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the CEO of Shopify, I think.
It is indeed. Quite an achievement to get a notoriety from Toby on a launch of a on the launch of the app, really, I suppose, through a LinkedIn post. I don't think he is too active on LinkedIn, and certainly haven't seen him commenting a whole lot over the years.
Yeah, I think yeah. I don't think he's I think the last time he commented was like a year ago, and that was on the release of Sidekick concept for Shopify. So yeah, he's like you can see he's like super inactive on LinkedIn. He basically yeah, like I think I was maybe his third comment ever on LinkedIn, which was pretty cool. But yeah, so
Yeah, third. Yeah, that's
yeah,
incredible.
third comment ever, and yeah, so I was when he did that comment, I think you messaged me or basically spam texted me like Liam, look at LinkedIn, what the hell? And yeah, I
I
basically
had
like
already
finished.
commented on it, and then I got a notification saying Toby had commented on a post, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that before. So I clicked into it, and lo and behold, it was your post.
Yeah, like I think I was sitting right here as well and nearly fell off my chair. And then yeah, like I was just like, what? It didn't make really any sense. So I called up the lads and I was like, oh my God, CEO of Shopify, content thing. Imagine the marketing material. Imagine what we could do this. This is amazing. He just validated our idea. We like, and this was just after we had probably sent out like the week before between the three of us. We'd probably sent out maybe 120 emails. I did most of them, cold emails, cold outreach. Some things were starting to happen with those leads, but really not anything significant. So I kind of threw this post out here as kind of like an attempt to kind of tell the world about what we're doing, along with it
Sure.
was near the end of the program too. It wasn't necessarily we're almost desperate because we had a demo day coming up where I would have to pitch the idea, pitch the project. A lot of the other patchers or the other teams were building their own our own things, had already got customers or pilots. So yeah, I was really just really desperate to kind of get somebody on board or agree to integrate CartShare with their store. So I kind of threw this post out there. Saw it was a bit cheeky. I wanted to see what would happen. It got a bit of traction, Yeah, like you saw there like 150 reactions or something, which is pretty cool. And then after that, maybe 2 days, 2 days go by. There's probably one day before the demo day. Yeah, I think something like that. And then Toby comments on it, and it just like absolutely blows up. Like, and then it turns instead of me just have nothing in my email, it was like 20 or 30 emails, just like
That quickly.
yeah, like over the next few days, it was like that. Like I probably overall got like 20 or 30 emails. A lot of them just congratulating me. And I was like, well, the product isn't even launched yet. Don't congratulate me yet. Um, um, and other people interested to know more about CartShare. And then me and the lads basically went to our mentors who had helped us write patch and went, this is crazy. And they were like, okay, well, you need to build a website. You need to make a Calendly link. You need to kind of use this kind of traction which you're going to get, which it did. It went from like 5,000 impressions to now it's at 29,000 impressions.
Wow.
We had to basically kind of take advantage of this little bit of hype we had. And our website was horrific. It was literally just one word. So we spent all night building a website, building Calendly links, revamping our LinkedIn profiles completely, which you may have noticed, and and yeah, it was amazing. And then we also then Bobby Healy from Manager on Delivery commented on Toby's post. Yeah, he sent me a direct message as well, and was like, "Oh yeah, I saw Toby. Toby had commented on your post. It's really cool. I was with him in San Francisco last week. Do you want me to send him on the demo video?" And I was like, "Yes, sure." Of course you can.
Of course.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, the one thing that was really good is that I kind of realized that we knew it was a problem for consumers. One thing myself and the lads over the 6 weeks did is that we basically went around Dublin and just pretended that it was a college project that I had a shitty I was basically telling Keith who's my co-founder that he had a shitty idea And basically that's kind of how the pitch went. You go, hey, my mate doesn't think my idea is good. What are your thoughts? So we got some amazing feedback on it. And we also started we had the demo on our phones,
To just
and
walk in the streets of Dublin and asking
yeah,
random people.
honestly, just walking to like Grafton Street, streets of Dublin, just walking around, talking to anybody who would listen to us, and kind of get their thoughts and feedback. And then that really kind of made it very clear that there was a user problem and a wide user problem. Even, it's not just to get free shipping, but there's also the context of, okay, we're going out to a party, or there's a festival coming up. The idea is that you get these group of people who are all going to buy stuff but separately, to come together, help the merchant, and make the life a lot easier for them. And there's also, we found other use cases, like say if you have a new pet, uh, you're a merchant, you sell pet food, or sell items for your dog. Um, the idea is that everyone in the family can join in on this cart and buy new stuff for the dog, or say it's Christmas. You have Christmas coming up. Everyone wants to kind of get their presents done for the other family or for the grandparents. Get get the family in on it, add what they want, and kind of make those kind of inconveniences a lot easier. That's kind of the feedback we got from there. But yeah, that was it. That was some great that was a great experience going and doing that. Also, kind of helped boost our confidence a little bit. It was something that was actually meant something. And then yeah, once we got that comment from Toby, we were like, yeah, no, merchants are gonna like this too. And that was the yeah. And then from there it was just yeah, we're going to onboard with hopefully three new customers within the next 2 weeks. We don't even have it launched on the Shopify App Store yet.
Just,
We're
just,
still
just to pause you there a second. You're about to launch with three customers, and when did you guys set about how what's the timeline here? So we're recording this on Saturday, the 24th of August. When did you guys come together and decide on CardShare as the idea?
probably late July, like maybe
So 4, 5 weeks ago.
yeah, we properly settled on the idea and properly started building late July.
It's
Um,
quite a timeline.
yeah, probably. Um, yeah, probably late, maybe a little bit earlier than that. And we probably started building then, and then from there it was just us trying to build, try to validate it, try to do outreach, get ready for the demo day, and then get
That's
get
what you
that.
call a sense of urgency and priority. It's a really, really quick turnaround. Fair play, honestly, very, very impressive stuff. Um, I mean, best of luck. You've three. I think we were quickly touching on it before we jumped on. You've three quite decent sized Irish stores jumping on next week. That's no mean feat to turn a product like that around in such a short space of time. Do the cold outreach, do the discovery, and actually have merchants agree to install it on their store. And they're not tiny Mickey Mouse stores either. Some of the ones that you did mention before we came on. So I mean, massive congrats on that massive achievement. Um, are you running both of these businesses simultaneously?
Yeah, at the moment I am to be honest with you, I'll be completely honest. I'm still trying to figure it out right now. Right, I'm going back to school on Monday. I'll be going back to school nine to 3:45 every day. And yeah, it's gonna be difficult to manage, right? I really think just before patch started and just before the whole cart share thing started, I really had figured out what I was gonna do with Quick Find. And then now that I've gone into the 6 7 week program and I got a really really good idea, that people are really, really excited about. There's going to have to be some decisions there made about that, especially when it's school. Now, fifth year isn't as bad as sixth year, right? It's not like I'm preparing literally for the leaving cert. It's just around the corner. But there'll be homework. I mean, the reason I was able to do all these cool projects anyway was because I was in TY. I had a bunch of free time. Base, to be honest with you.
Just for anyone who's not in Ireland, just explain what maybe TY is.
Yeah. So TY is transition year, which is basically you have from basically 12 to 15, 16, you have junior cert, which is kind of yeah, it all leads up to the junior cert, which is when you a test you take when you're 15 or 16, to kind of prepare you for the big exam that you'll basically decide whether you go to college with on. So yeah, that's between 16 and then between 16 and 17. there's usually something called transition year, which is a year where you basically get to, there's not so much focused on the schoolwork, it's focused on trying new things out, going to work experience, getting an internship, in my case, building a startup, and that kind of thing. And then after that year's over, you go into fifth year and sixth year, and sixth year you take your big exam, which is like similar to the SAT or the GCSEs in the UK.
Great, interesting. And yeah, that'll be quite the balancing act, I'm sure. Um, have you any idea what you want to do post leaving search? Like, will you go to college, or are you planning to just go straight into business, or does that just seem like it's 20 years away at this stage?
I have to be careful not to upset my mom because I know she'll be watching.
We can edit this
Um,
bit out.
yeah, no, it's fine. You can definitely keep it in. Yeah, so like at the moment, I'm like, I it's going to be a big struggle me going back to school because I for basically the last year I've been doing not definitely not doing school that much, working on stuff, working on projects, working on something like CartShare, and I love it so much, building a startup, building a business, and I think I've just finally found something that may just take off and be that successful startup that I want it to be, that I've wanted for a while and failed at for a while. So I think, yeah, college seems pretty far away, but not far away at the same time. I get like this question all the time. I think I talked to somebody at Dogpatch Labs yesterday about it, and they're basically like, "What are you going to do when you go back to school?" Well, I'm going to have to balance it, and basically, I'm just going to look at the next 100 days and see where I can get with CartShare, while working at QuickFind at the same time in the next 100 days, and see what happens.
Try
And
and squeeze
if
your homework
CartShare
in there
starts to be,
somewhere.
yeah, yeah, and I guess it's like if I start to see that CartShare is now generating a sizable amount of revenue, and it's really doing the results I wanted to do, and scaling how I wanted to, yeah, I have to make a decision whether staying in school makes sense or whether I can keep balancing it. The idea is I'll keep balancing it for as long as I physically can,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
I even before transition year, I was balancing science projects or duct tape wallets projects or something like that. This is much different, but yeah, one of the ways I'm going to get around that is that since the lads are in college, they can take calls while I'm at school, because it's a bit more flexible in college, a lot more flexible in college. And then once I'm done school at 3:45, I'll hop on calls. Anyone who's in the time, so basically anyone between 3:30 and 5:30. Then after that, basically America is basically halfway through their day. The same with Canada. So I'll be doing calls up until I go to bed. Is the plan? Um, yeah. So I'm not sure yet.
If people are looking to get in contact with you or hear more about CartShare or just connect in general, where can they find you?
Yeah, Liam Fuller on LinkedIn. Cartshare.store is the URL to our website. Feel free to book a call there or also look at our demo video. And yeah, I have my details on LinkedIn if anyone wants to book a call or just email me directly or even just call me, whatever it is.
Perfect. We'll drop all the links to CardShare, your own LinkedIn, and we'll drop your email in the show notes here as well. From my side, I just want to say that was one of the best episodes we've done today. Really, really,
Oh,
really enjoyed every bit of it. Wishing you nothing but success over the next couple of years. Can't wait to see where you bring CardShare and whatever you go on to do next.
thanks a million. Yeah, that's great to hear. Thanks.
No worries. Best of luck. See you soon.